Make sure it's live.
Looks like we're live.
Is it showing up? There we go.
YouTube.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Eric, the Reselling Teacher, and I'm here with Kurtis, who goes by the Primetime FBA on Instagram. Hang on, let me mute myself on the other. Hang on one second. There we go. So I'm not hearing myself teach. I'm new to all this stuff. So, but Kurtis and I talked a couple, like last week, we did an Instagram live, and I had a ton of people message me and say, can I get a download? You know, I didn't get a chance to see it live. So they asked me to do it again and record it. So that's what this is. And hopefully it's a series of just talking to cool people in the reselling community. So, I'm going to give a quick introduction and then you just kind of sharing your story. So, Kurtis, you're 23 years old, full-time Amazon seller, wholesale, grocery, and you've got a warehouse. You're in, from everything I can tell, you're just kind of killing the game. So, tell us how you got your start on Amazon, and then kind of the evolution of becoming a wholesale grocery guy.
I never started with Amazon. I always started on eBay. Back in college, I basically needed to make some money, and I heard about this. I actually started off with a company called Dropship Revolution. They were a big Amazon eBay dropship company. They, of course, all that kind of stuff. So I started dropshipping on eBay, and then as time went on, I ran into some friends on Facebook who were doing Amazon, and the one guy just kind of showed me the ropes, and then I kind of went from there. But I just in college needed extra money, and just decided to go for it.
And so you were going to grocery stores, right?
Yeah. So in college, I had a dorm room. I had a single dorm, luckily. I didn't have a roommate. So that made it nice for me. I would go to the local grocery stores and I would find what day they did their circulars, and I would scan everything on sale that week. And then whatever I'd find, I would actually go to the manager and special order a lot of it. So I could lock in that price, because I knew that, once every 3 or 4 months it'd go back on sale. So I make sure that I get, 3 or 4 months worth of inventory at once, if the margin was high enough and I could afford it. But then I would just do that. I'd fill my dorm room up with groceries and sticker stuff, and I'd look like an idiot walking through the hallways of stuff in the dorm rooms, hauling boxes down to put in my car to take the UPS. But it worked. And then when I graduated college, I just took it to the next level. So
yeah. And so you basically had a relationship with the managers, right? So that you could basically, and when you say you search the flyers, did you just manually look everything up? Like you would just look up on Amazon to see what products are selling for? Yeah,
I would just scan in the store, and on the Scoutify app, I just keep a chart, and I'd say, all right, well, historically this is good, whatever, and then I just order it, and as long as the price was steady and I know I can make money at the lowest price point, right, then I was good to go.
So talk about that first conversation you had with like a store manager. How did you initiate it? How did that go?
Actually, I didn't even say anything on Amazon. I was like, hey, if I wanted to buy this in bulk, can I do that? And they're like, sure, yeah. And then they got to a point where I was ordering a lot of toilet paper from a grocery store. It's a specialty kind of thing. And the manager, I'd order like 2 skids at a time, and the manager was like, what are you doing with all this toilet paper? And I'm like, well, I saw on Amazon. He's like, oh, that's so cool. And I think I got lucky, because a lot of places will be like, oh, like, no, you can't do that, right? But I got lucky, and he thought it was a cool idea, and he's like, if you ever need anything else, let me know. And then, but like by then, like, I didn't do that a lot, actually, because at the one store I did it, they actually cut me off. And so like, we got, a message from their district manager that they noticed that you're ordering a lot, and they know where it's going, and they want you to save that for other customers or whatever. Because I guess each store has like their own allotted amount of marketing dollars that they can use. So I was like, whatever, then I'll just clear your shelves, cool.
Right.
So I would just go around to every store then in the town and neighboring towns and clear the shelves of the items that I wanted. It's a little more work, but I knew that every morning I'd go in there for at least 7 days, and they would restock the shelves, and I'd clear them again.
Sure.
So I mean, they I guess they played hardball, so I played hardball back, kind of.
And this, what year was this? When did all this kind of?
I graduated college in December of 2017.
Okay.
So it would have been, I was doing that up until probably 6 months after I graduated college.
Okay. So middle of 2018.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
I was like, this is draining, you know. And I wasn't seeing, I capped myself out. I was like, I'm not seeing like exponential growth.
Right.
So,
and that's where I'm at. And that's kind of what forced my transition too, is you can only get to so many stores. You can only shop so much. And you get to a point where it's like, okay, if I'm going to scale this thing, I either need more suppliers, I need more people, I need to do something different. So explain that transition. So you realize you're kind of hit a wall as far as growth goes. So then what happened next?
Well, I actually stopped doing grocery altogether at that point, and I had a buddy of mine who was doing some wholesale, and you know, he got a course, and he was like, "Hey man, like check this out." I'm like, "Okay." This was actually a high school friend, and we kind of like reacclimated each other, and you know, hung out and talked about Amazon. He's like, "Yeah, I just bought this wholesale course, and you know, you should check it out." And I'm like, wholesale, like never really heard of wholesaling for Amazon. I'm like, I was like very new, but he got a course on the opportunity suppliers, right? So that course was pitching, you know, go find these liquidators, these closeout guys, the email guys, and so I did that for a long time, and I did the whole OA for a little bit, you know, I would squeeze some OA in there and stuff, but I was doing that up until just recently, the opportunity guys up until just last year. And so, yeah. And then I decided, you know, hey, this isn't working, you know, because the deals are so hit and miss. Again, it's not scalable. Right. You have to sit there at your computer all day and wait for an email to come in, because you know that if you miss that email in 5 minutes, the item's already gone. And because this guy's getting from this guy, he's getting from this guy, he's getting from this guy. And so by the time this guy emails that guy, and that guy emails that guy, and that guy emails that guy, it takes an hour, and then the product's already gone.
Sure. So explain to people what you mean by opportunity lists.
Okay. So basically, like, there's a bunch. I mean, you can just Google them. There'll be tons of them. You know, they won't say, "Hey, we're an opportunity supplier." They'll just say, "Hey, we're a supplier," right? Mm-hmm. But basically, what happens is they get these like closeout deals or overstock deals from other people, whether it's retailers or manufacturers or brands, or sometimes they don't even know where the product comes from.
Right.
But sometimes they get all these, you know, excess units, and they'll say, "Hey, we have 150 of this makeup palette. You know, take all is $10 a pallet. MOQ is 50 at $11 a pallet. You know." And you can say, "Hey, I want 50," or "Hey, I want 100," or "Hey, I want them all." And basically, you know, they are gray market goods. They're not. They're definitely not always legit, because you know, I've had my Amazon account not suspended but close to, because ended up being counterfeit. Mm-hmm. And so you know, I learned a lesson there. I called that supplier and reported them, whatever we had to do there. But so they just do excess goods, overstock, but like I said, be careful, because you know, sometimes there can be counterfeits. You know, electronics and makeup especially. Mm-hmm. A lot of knockoffs, and obviously clothing. So
sure. So basically, these guys are kind of like the middlemen, mm-hmm. and I've bought a few, I'd say 4 or 5 times through these. Basically, they're kind of the middleman. They have a connection with retail stores, or like you said, manufacturers, and they'll send out these emails and they're like, "Hey, we've got, you know, X number of these products," and there's different little niches. There's cosmetic ones. I subscribe to one that's like licensed things that are licensed, like Disney, Harley, stuff like that. And they basically, like we said, like, and they just kind of mark the price up a little bit. You know, like if they're getting it at $9, they're going to offer it to you at $11. And they know Amazon, and they look at the fees and all that stuff, so they kind of know like, you know, what they can squeeze out of it.
It was funny, you know, because at one point I had I was getting so many emails from all these different suppliers that I would get 4 or 5 emails from five different suppliers with the same product at different prices.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy's getting from this guy, but this guy doesn't know about that guy, but he's getting from the other guy. He's marketing it from that guy, but he's different. You know what I mean? Like it would, you know, you just find like the rabbit hole. You know,
Sure.
I only ever found, you know, like one end. Like I've only found like one originator. Like this is a guy that where it all stems from.
Sure.
And you know that was the makeup guy I was telling you about. You know,
Yep.
that guy is the dude that gets it first.
Sure.
And so that's but yeah, so I just be careful about it. There's tons of them out there.
Yep.
And I would say 98% of the products from them get heavily oversaturated on Amazon, and the price tanks in about a week after going live. Yep. You know, so.
The problem that was where I kind of got out of it. Like I said, I bought 4 or 5 things. You don't know what the total inventory in the whole market is. You know, they might say like, hey, you know, minimum order quantity of 50 units or whatever, but there's like 25,000 units available globally. You know, you just don't know, and so it's kind of easy to get burned. And like you said, the price tanks, and you don't know, you know, like you said. I don't know where I got it in the chain, so somebody might have gotten it $2-3 cheaper than I did, and so they're able to lower the price.
Well, especially in video games. Like I bought 1,000 copies of a buddy of mine. We each got 1,000 copies of a video game. We're thinking we're going to control this market. Like it's 2,000 games, so the same game. Like there's no way I don't have any more. We were awfully wrong.
Yeah,
there ended up being like 50,000 copies on that one Amazon listing that we ended up waiting out for months and months and months.
Yeah.
And it's like it was a nightmare. And I was like, that's when I was like, you know what, this is not what I want to do. This is very stressful, and I just wasn't the model I wanted to go with.
So at some point, we both figured out in the last interview, you and I both went into. We were on not Watch Me Amazon, Watch Me FBA. John, we were in his group, and so he runs an online arbitrage list group. It's a pretty expensive group. It was a small group.
No longer around though, right?
Yeah, he kind of it's we can talk about that offline a little bit. It's still going on, but it's really small. Basically it was a lot of Amazon to Amazon flips, and it was a lot of low margin, high velocity, you know, things you might only make 10-12% on, but with cash back and credit card points you might be able to squeeze a little bit more. But they were typically things that, you know, once they checked in, they were selling pretty quick. So what made you, and I got out of that too, but what made you decide like this high, you know, electronics and this high volume, low velocity, or high velocity, low margin stuff just isn't working for me?
When I saw how much crap gets returned, when I was doing like 80 grand a month in sales doing electronics, but I'd have $10,000 in returns that month. I was like, okay, pump the brakes here. I'm only making 10% on some of these items, but I'm getting 12% of them returned because I don't know why. And now I have a whole room full of electronics that I gotta flip on eBay or locally because I don't sell used on Amazon. I just won't.
Sure.
So it's like, you know, it was a return rate. But I also found that, you know, electronics is good if you have the cash flow. Like my buddy here that I share warehouse with, that's all he does. He has 25 pallets now of brand new electronics in here, you know. But you know, if you have the cash flow to keep up with the returns and buying inventory, you can get ahead. But I found that you need some deep pockets for these high ticket items, because if you don't, then the returns going to eat you alive.
Yeah, and like John and some of these other guys that were in the group, I mean, they were spending, you know, a couple $100,000 like on Prime Day. I mean, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. I thought I was a big dog when I'm like, I got my spending up to, you know, 30 grand on Prime Day or something. And they're like, I talked to John and he's like, yeah, I spent like 100 grand before you woke up this morning. And and they had multiple buyers. He had like,
I actually had a few buyers myself. I had one or two that I would pay to buy for me and stuff, but you know, you need a lot of money, but I also found that it's getting harder and harder. You know, I would look on the sites that he was finding the stuff from, and I was like, and then as time goes on, I'm like glancing back at it, I'm like, there's just slim pickings now.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to, OA is getting harder, RA is getting harder. And so at least for me, I mean, I know
Sure.
some guys that are killing the game still in RA.
Right.
But, it's not here nor there.
So you're getting fed up with the returns from electronics. And so at what point did you say, like, all right, I got to figure something else out?
When I moved out of my parents' house with my, at the time, girlfriend, and she was working, and I was doing Amazon full-time from home, whatever. And I was doing this, and I had extra time because, I was using the prep center, and I wasn't touching anything really. And I was like, well, let me just dabble in some more legitimate wholesale stuff. And so, at that point, like the leads were slow. And I was like, well, I haven't had anything good in 2 weeks now. Like, I know it happens, but I was like, I still got to pay my bills. I got to pay my credit cards off, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, well, I need to shift the pace here. So I started doing wholesale. Actually, I started with brand outreach. I would, go and find brands that I wanted to carry and whatever niche I wanted to carry it in. And I would pick up the phone. I'd do 50 a day sometimes. I'd just email brands, call brands. And I have a general script that I'd email every single brand with. I'd call them if they didn't email me back within a week. I'd pick up the phone and call them. I had this whole spreadsheet that I kept track of everything on. And so I just did that. And I got, like 30 to 40 brands that were selling me things directly. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm making 25% and not 8 to 10% now. And so that's when I was like, all right, well, we're going to cut off the OA and invest our time more in the brand outreach. And then as that went on, I was like, well, let me see if I can find some distributors. And then I started looking for distributors, and then the rest is just history. I made a lot of phone calls, made a lot of mistakes, but I found a couple that, as long as they don't go away, I mean, they know I'm on Amazon. They know all this stuff, I found a couple that I'm pretty good for a while, so.
Sure. So when I decided to start this channel, like, I wanted to connect people from, a lot of people start this off as a side hustle. It's kind of fun. And then they really pursue it and they're like, man, I'm really doing well. And then they get to this threshold where, like, okay, am I going to go full time? How am I going to grow it? And what I found is a lot of the people that are being interviewed are like, everybody wants to interview, Larry and the Amazon Lit Boys. Yeah. And like, everybody wants to, because of course, they've reached celebrity status. And so, like, I wanted to reach out to the people that are like, okay, maybe I'm here. Like, the people that are here that are eventually are going to be here, but like, let's catch them on their way up, So what would you say to people that are kind of like me, that are trying to grow and scale? Like, they've kind of hit that same wall. Like, what kind of advice would you give them?
You need to think outside the box. There's some things that I've learned, especially in grocery, that you find these little nuggets that you're like, oh, like, I can use this or I can use that. You can't, Google's your friend and all, Googling grocery wholesale or whatever you want to do. But there's a bunch of other secret ways that I found that works for me to find distributors, to find brands, to find, contact information to someplace that I can find online, So I would say that don't quit whatever you're doing now, but put aside some time and just, whether it's Google, whether you're going to the store, and finding brands you might want to carry, go in your grocery store and look at what's on their shelves. What are they carrying that sells well? If you can't think of any brands, then go walk through your grocery store. You'll find a ton. But just dedicate some time each night and, reach out to wholesalers, distributors, and brands, and email them, call them, and keep calling them till they give you an answer, till they call you back. So
it seems like phone calls, it's, if you're not in a business where you're constantly in sales or you're constantly on the phone with people, it can be a little bit intimidating. But for me, it seems like the phone is the way, like, that a lot of business gets done in this whole
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword. It's kind of, let's see, I have a list of, 1,000 or so brands, almost 1,100 that I've contacted so far. And when I call them, hey, my name's Curtis. I was wondering if I could purchase wholesale from you. I'd like to get a price list so I can, get an order over to you. And 95% of the time are you selling on Amazon? And then you just know. You just like, well, this is how it ends. You're like, nope, this is so like I feel like when I'm in an email, before they can tell me no, I can explain myself more.
Sure, that's true.
They cut you off on the phone so quick. No, we don't want, what I mean?
Right.
But it's like then I need an email. They're at least gonna read the whole email usually.
Right.
So say, hey, I'm an Amazon seller, but I can do this for you.
Right.
Or but I can order, a truckload. Would that help? Because money talks. Right. So like I prefer email, and then I'll call if they don't email me back.
Okay. So. Interesting. So one of the things that I think, you talk about thinking outside of the box, and I could be wrong there. Somebody could watch this and go like, you just haven't looked hard enough, Eric. But it seems like the days of just randomly finding a brand where you're going to find like some product that sells, 1,000 units a month and you're going to make, 50%. Like it seems like, I'm not saying it's not out there, but it seems like because there's lots and lots of people doing what you and I are doing it. And they're doing it on a bigger scale, and they've got teams of employees and VAs. And so it does seem like thinking outside of the box is definitely the way to go. But the one of the things that I haven't had a ton of success with it, but I've had enough success that makes me think like there's something to this. In fact, I talked to the president of a company today. I didn't mean to. I sent them an email, generic, like, hey, we're looking at setting up a wholesale account. Phone ring. She's like, hey, I'm the president of this company. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm talking to a decision maker. Yeah. But I told her what we had to offer. And I think a lot of these companies have been taken advantage of by Amazon sellers, like all they do. I was looking at a listing the other day. There were 20 sellers on it. And not one of those 20 sellers took the time to just take better pictures or clean up their keywords. And so that's kind of the angle that I've been going at, is like taking pictures, taking screenshots of their listings and saying, I'm an Amazon seller. This is what I do. This is where I would make your product look better. At minimum, we're going to clean this up a little bit. And that seems to be kind of like what you said, a little bit, it gets you past that initial, sorry, we don't work with Amazon sellers.
Because like I can guarantee you that they might tell you no, but I can also guarantee you that there is something that will make them say yes.
Sure.
Like unless there's an exclusivity they have with another. Like I've heard that 1,000 times, and I talk to these brands, some larger brands, and they're like, oh, we have an exclusive, and I'm like, oh, is it this person? Yeah, or I work with a smaller brand right now, and I call her like once a month. Hey, I need another, 10 cases of each. I'm out. Oh, thank you. Actually, she called me the other morning to get my credit card info, and we were just chatting about who she works with, and I was like, oh, I noticed this person on the listing. They're a fairly large Amazon seller, and her response is, oh yeah, they're so annoying. They won't leave me alone. And she's like, they call me every 2 days for like 2 more cases and I'm like, that's a pain. Like I order like a month or 2 worth, and I'm out of your hair for a month or 2. But I guess the way these big guys are set up, like logistically, maybe they want stuff in every single day, whether it's 1 case or 4 cases. I'm okay with prepping a month's worth and calling it a day.
Sure.
So I mean, I think us little guys have an opportunity to really make an impression on some of these brands, especially the smaller brands that are getting hounded by these bigger companies trying to bully them.
Right.
I work with a company who sold to one of the largest sellers on Amazon, and they no longer do. And they sell to smaller guys like me now because he said they would buy truckloads at a time, but they would sell for $10 under MSRP.
Right.
And it would affect the brand integrity, the brand image. He's like, now we don't sell to Amazon anymore, and we don't sell to this third-party seller because even Amazon bullied the price down with them. They match them down. So they stopped selling to big sellers. So I think us small and medium guys have an opportunity here to really reach the market and show these brands a little more one-on-one, what we can do to help you.
I think right now, I reached out to a brand. I sent out a generic email. They're like, here's our application. I started filling out the application. I get to the very bottom after I'd already filled it out. And it was like, we are not working with any new Amazon sellers.
Happens all the time to me. All the time.
Like, well, I'd already filled it out. I'm like, well, worst case scenario, like I've already filled it out. I'm going to send it anyway.
Yeah.
So I sent it. I get an email back a little bit later, and it was like, hey, can we set up a call with you? And I was like, yep, no problem. So again, some bigwig in the company, the CFO or someone calls, and they're basically like, our Amazon is a mess right now. We don't know who's selling our products. We don't know. We've got people that are violating MAP. We've got inside salespeople that are selling to different prices to different people. So like you said, just because the answer is no, it could be that they are. It's like they're just putting everything on pause because it's such a mess. You know what I mean? And if you can help them clean up that mess a little bit, then you become the problem solver, as opposed to just another person wanting to, pimp them out for their products.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly right. I talked to a company, and like sometimes it's like the other way. I talked to a company and I was like, hey, literally when you sign up for a wholesale account on their website, it said, what do you do? I literally clicked the option, Amazon seller, like clicked it. And an automated thing got me through and said, congrats, you've been approved. Like it was automated, whatever. And then I was like looking at it and these margins, and I'm like, this sounds too good to be true. Was this a website glitch? So I called them. I said, hey, just wanted to confirm I'm allowed to sell this on Amazon, right? And they're like, no. I was like, well, your website said I was approved, so I can order. Yeah, we only have one seller. I'm like, there's 18 on your listing.
Right.
And you carry 50 different SKUs, and they all sell. They're all ranked under 20,000 in beauty or in health and beauty. I was like, is there any way I can sell? Oh no. So I actually contacted like the marketing, the vice president of marketing. I was like, hey, this is what I do. Like, would you consider making me one of the authorized sellers? Oh no, we're not interested. We already have one. I'm like, you have 18.
Right. Right.
He's like, yeah. He's like, well, we're taking action against them. At that point, I didn't have the IP alert extension. So, but now I have it, and I go back and I'm like, okay, like when I go to the listing, it says this company is known to file IP complaints. So, like, it's both sides there. Like, you gotta, be careful, and that's why, like, I always tell them, hey, I'm an Amazon seller. I'm not gonna beef them around, because that could hurt me if they do an IP complaint.
And I've kind of doubled down on that. Like, not only am I an Amazon seller, I'm really good at it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like, that's kind of the, like on my website, I used to tiptoe it around, and I'm like, well, I'm a distributor and I have this, and for the time being, and I might change it, but like on my website right now, it's just like, I'm really good at Amazon. I know it sounds arrogant, but Amazon is a beast. To do it right, it's a beast, and a lot of companies don't have the resources to do it right. They think they can just slap some, pictures up on a listing and call it good. So yeah, I don't tiptoe around the fact that I sell on Amazon. I know some people lie. I know it's a gray area. Some people don't ask, don't tell.
I used to don't ask, don't tell. I'll be honest with you. I used to don't ask. I used to not tell, nothing. And then this is also electronics, and some electronics distributors, what these big brands will do is they'll actually buy an item off of Amazon, track the serial number, which distributor it came from, and then say, hey, whoever you sold this item to, block them. And that ended up being, I got some accounts shut down because of that. So lesson learned. Sure. But I forgot what I was going to say. If I remember it all.
That's fine. How is this the virus, the COVID-19? How has that affected your business?
So far, not at all. Knock on wood. Besides the receiving times for my first pallet I sent out of this location took like 2.5 weeks. Since then, 4 days, 5 days max, and I have all my listings live for the SKUs I send in. I can't keep anything in stock right now. I'm selling through. It's not a whole lot, but I'm selling 300 to 500 units a day right now. And I have another 15 pallets coming next Thursday. I have 3 sitting here in warehouse. I need to go out Monday, and and I already have orders for down the road. I already have replant orders. I know I'm going to sell out, and I think it's important to realize, especially in grocery, is during this time if you're in grocery, like I usually I'm like, oh, like don't over order. Well, right now I'm ordering like 60 to 90 days worth of product, and I don't think I'm overshooting it because after this is over, people are going to start developing these online shopping habits,
Right.
Because they're cooped inside all this time. So I think what we can expect from this is that I think we'll see these exponential sales indefinitely.
Sure.
I think people are going to start shopping online a lot more because right now it's Prime Day every single day.
And even once, these bans lift and these quarantines lift, people are still going to be like, I know my behavior is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know when I go to the grocery store, like I used to never wipe things down. You know what I mean? Like I just think people are going to be slow to get back into going to the grocery store. It's one of the, and I'm sure you have stories like this too, but there's one product I sell. It's a grocery product that I was selling 12 cases a month, so 144 units a month on average. And when all this stuff went down, I sold 80 in a day.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
it was bizarre.
Yeah.
Just what people are buying from. I do agree that on the other side of this, we have maybe a portion of the population that was reluctant to shop online, or maybe didn't realize like, hey, I can get my pantry items, I can get my stuff that I normally go to the grocery store on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to add something quick. I finally remember what I was going to say. We talked about the benefits for like how like the basically just like opening accounts with people. I know I can, and I know you can. Having a commercial location is huge.
Sure.
Because people say, hey, do you have a brick and mortar store or do you sell online? Well, now we have the ability to say both if we really want to. You know what I mean? Because that's a gray area to an extent, because you can say both, but if they know you're on Amazon anyway, then what does it matter?
Right.
So if you put your address in the app form as your storefront, you said you're in an old hardware store. Right. I'm in an old antique store here. So like they're both storefronts. So that's on the map, that's what they're going to show up as.
Yeah, having a commercial address, because some companies will actually Google Map you to see, is this guy working out of his garage, or does he actually have some type of facility, a store or a warehouse of some kind. One company that I set an account with, I had to actually take pictures. They wanted to see pictures.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, because they had some scammers. They had some people that lied about their location.
Never had that happen before.
With some stolen credit cards and stuff. But
wow.
But you can get around that if you're at home and you're thinking like, I'm trying to scale this. Like, you just need an address. If you know somebody that owns a store or that owns a building that you can quote unquote lease 50 square feet of or something like that. Like, you can definitely get creative, but definitely having a commercial address definitely helps for sure. I know one of the accounts I have, they would absolutely not let me set the account up if I didn't have a place for their trucks to come in. Like, I had to make it very clear that we don't have a loading dock here, but I have a forklift and I have the ability to unload their trucks. And like, that was one of the first things, was like, how are we going to get our trucks in there?
Yeah, that's that's all I'm saying. Because like, I know you don't have a loading dock there. I have one here, but that's huge, because I just talked to another distributor the other day, and they just went, hey, can we fit a truck in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
right.
Full size track trailer, like come on in.
Yep. What so outside of Amazon, look at on the personal side, what do you enjoy doing? How do you spend your time? What do you like to do when you're not prepping products on Amazon?
So I am technically a professional bowler.
Okay.
I just got my pro card this year. Obviously I can't use it right now because can't do anything right now.
Sure.
But I bowled in professional and PBA tournaments over the last year as an amateur. I did really well. So I got my pro card. I got my pro card this year. and was hoping to do a lot more terms this year, but obviously they've all been canceled indefinitely until this whole thing's over. But yeah, I love bowling. So I've always since high school. So besides that, I like to work out. I actually lost between sophomore year of college and senior year of college. I lost 80 pounds.
Wow.
So I used to be a quite the big boy.
Sure.
So I lost a bunch of weight, and then I got into powerlifting, and then did some bodybuilding stuff, just like workout stuff. I never did a show, never really had like the desire to. I did, but then I was like, that's like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But no, so like I like to lift, I like to bowl, I like to travel a lot, and that kind of goes hand in hand with bowling. We my fiance and I we're always going to a new state for bowling, so, and we're always going on hikes, and so yeah, I like being outdoors, bowling, and working out. So
very cool. And is there you said fiance, so you guys do you have a date set, or is it?
Yeah, we're getting married tentatively. I guess you can now say tentatively August 29th. So I'm hoping by then we're good.
Yeah, all this stuff. It's crazy to think of like all these people that had weddings planned, or they had.
Oh, yeah.
I just had a friend that was talking about he had his buddy's dad passed away, and the funeral was like, they basically couldn't have a funeral the way they wanted. It's crazy. It's
actually yesterday, Wednesday night, my sister's husband, my brother-in-law's grandpa passed away from coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't have a funeral. They can't. Yeah. And so, it really, I'm grateful that I can still be here working on my products and my mm-hmm. grocery and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm not having many people come in here, I'm just kind of, I have one guy that comes in and helps me, and that's a guy that lives in my apartment complex. I'm around him all the time, but it's like, I'm not taking any chances.
Sure. Yeah. So, what does the future look like for Kurtis? Where do you see this business going? How long do you see yourself doing it?
Oh, man.
Life after Amazon?
If I'm being honest with everybody here, I thoroughly enjoy the Amazon game. Do I want to do it forever? No. I want to really, I think a lot of people do, is I want to start getting into buying some real estate.
Okay.
And I know there's an Instagram guy that says it all the time. He's like, Amazon will make you rich, but real estate will keep you rich.
Okay.
And I love the Amazon game, but also a good part about scaling a wholesale business and having legitimate distributors and suppliers and not just, these opportunity guys that are already in OA is that I have the ability now to sell my business if I want to, so I don't know if I would ever sell it because there's nothing like opening up a phone in the mornings or at night and seeing like your sales, it's
right.
Like, yeah. So it's like, wow, like I built that, Yeah. So do I see myself doing it forever? I don't think so, but like everything comes and goes. In 10 years, we might not be able to even be allowed to sell on Amazon anymore.
Right.
And that's where it's like, what's one thing I can do that won't ever go away? Real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, you can get shut down tomorrow.
Sure.
So we'll see. I mean, I'll be doing this for next at least 5-10 years, if not
sure.
more. But I'm only 23, so I got some time.
So do you have any, like for me, it's not, obviously we wouldn't do it if we weren't making money, but for me, it's like, it's almost like a video game. Like I just kind of want to see like what high score I can get. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not that I live a pretty simple lifestyle and I don't have aspirations of like, fancy cars or anything like that. For me, I just like, it's almost just a personal drive to like, man, these were my sales last year. Like I want to see if I can double those.
Sales wise, I know the first year I did Amazon, I didn't get that 1099 because I didn't hit the 20,000 in sales. Mm-hmm. I did like 15,000. And then, so this year is going to be my 4th year on Amazon. And I know I did 15,000 the first year, and I 10 times it the second year, and then I 4.5 times it the following year, last year. And so it's like, yeah, like, would I like to 10 times last year? Sure. Will I? I'm not going to do 6 million this year. It just won't happen,
Sure.
But, my next goal is to do 1 million, and that's a big number that I want to hit.
Sure.
But yeah, so I kind of been like overworking, I think, myself. I'm getting up in the mornings and working like 8 a.m. Get up. I'm up till 2, 3 in the mornings. Now, by day I'm prepping. By night I'm sourcing and putting orders together. That's how it's been. So, but yeah, it's definitely you push yourself to get the next high score, the next sales record, the next monthly record, and you just see how far you can go.
Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward, and that's kind of what I discovered this year. So,
yeah.
And that was really tough because everything in me wanted to chase, especially like when some of these hand sanitizers and things are really, people were buying that stuff up like crazy. Like everything in me wanted to hop in the car and go, go buy all that stuff up. But I had to remind myself, I'm trying to build a business. Arbitrage, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, thrifting, garage sale, whatever it is you do, like that's definitely a side hustle, and you can make money. And I know people that make, several $100,000 a year doing it. John, we talked about earlier, at one point I know he was making $500,000 a year doing online arbitrage. Yeah. But the moment he stops buying, the moment he stops shopping, the business stops. You are the business. And so that's kind of what I decided this year was like, all right, let's go backwards, slow down, even if that means that your 2020 sales aren't as great as they could be. But you need to put something in place that when it's all said and done, you can either hand off to somebody else and say, hey, what would you offer me for it? Or something I could hand to my kids and say, hey, is this something you guys want to take over and run? We've got accounts in place. We've got suppliers in place. We've got listings in place. We've got connections, all that stuff. And that was something that I think I mentioned the last time. Brian, the buy, ship, repeat guys, they were killing the retail arbitrage game in shoes and clothing, but it was kind of like they came to the realization like this isn't a sustainable long-term.
It's not viable, you're not going to do this consistently. But yeah, like you said, in 5 years, and I have 37 distributors that I work with that I'm doing purchasing $50,000 a month from each of those, and I can sell that for a couple $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that would definitely be a cool feeling. It'd be hard to that's like letting your kid go,
right.
That's the only hard thing that I think about. It's 5 years. I look back and I'm like, wow, I built this whole thing from the ground up. Now I'm just gonna sell it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's just. But yeah, I definitely think building you have to make it viable and sustainable, and you have to have a business model that it can grow year over year.
Sure. The only question I see in the chat, the Casual Flipper. If you guys are not following the Casual Flipper, check him out on Instagram, and I know he has a YouTube channel, and I believe he has a podcast. So check him out. Have either of you tried to sell new condition books, like work directly with publishers? I know that I haven't. I have not. I never really thought about it. Never really had any. I think I just assumed that the big publishers were probably so connected to Amazon already that there probably just wasn't a place for me.
I've sold one new book and about 10 copies of it before, and if I'm being honest, back in my retail arbitrage days and that kind of stuff, actually I went through a phase last year that I was like, I'm going to do retail arbitrage again to see what I can do. So I did that again for a little bit, and in that process I was at Ollie's, and I'm like, oh yeah, these books are new, sweet, right. Like all these new books here, because Ollie's, Ollie's, they have tons of books,
right? So
I found this kid book, and I bought 10 copies of it. It was shrink wrapped. I'm like, all right, cool, this is new, sweet. And I sold them all with no issues, you know. But I definitely look back and I'm like, wow, that was a dumb decision, because what if someone asked for a receipt or an invoice? Someone's gonna give them Ollie's, which is basically a thrift store. Give them an Ollie's receipt, they're gonna laugh at me.
Sure.
So, but no, I have not sold any new bucks, and I think it's pretty hard to get with publishers. I think it's, unless you're one of the people that are providing like schools and stuff. I don't think it's tough unless you can like on those like small authors and kind of help them boost their own book sales. That could be an opportunity if you're really good at what you're doing, like PPC and that kind of stuff. But I can just imagine how hard it actually is having a publisher say, "Hell yeah, here, sure, just buy directly by all means."
The casual flipper. I'm trying to get into niches, however you pronounce that word, that aren't super saturated. I see tons of listings in the top 500 that are open to third-party sellers with very few sellers on it. Yeah, there's an expression that the riches are in the niches. Whether that's true, it is bizarre. I found this product the other day. It actually showed up on an OA leads list, an online arbitrage leads list, and I got digging, and it was like, okay, it was for sale in a retail store, and I'm like, well, if it's profitable here, like it was some product that I never even imagined that they sold on Amazon. And I was like, well, I wonder where you can find these. So, you start Googling, kind of go down the rabbit trail. Next thing you know, like I emailed them like, hey, do you guys sell, in bulk? And they're like, yep, what quantity you're looking at? And I'm like, well, I'm looking at potentially a couple pallets. And it was this product that like, it's one of those things like, I didn't even know you could sell this on Amazon. There's nothing illegal or nothing gross or dirty. It was just like, it seems like this is dangerous. Like you can sell this on Amazon. Like, and if it works out, there's one person on this listing and they only merchant fulfill it, and it's a hazmat product, and I'm in the hazmat program. I'm like, this could potentially be a $500 to $1,000 a month, profitable product with nobody else on the listing, and the listing is crappy. And I could clean up the listing and improve the keywords too. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. How do you feel about approaching brands not on Amazon and building their brand on there? I personally stay away from it. I had a ride with private label. I lost about $12,000 in private label. And that was me watching the course and going through the PPC and all the different stuff you got to do with that and launching. And I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at bringing products to market. That's something that I'm not good at, and I know that I'll probably never be good at it. So I'm going to stick to my brand name products. But like, it depends. If you catch a niche, like if like right now, if a small company approached you or you approach them that sells keto snacks, I'm willing to bet you could probably do okay doing keto snacks because keto's all the rave.
Right.
Anything like. But, if someone's at home making their own strawberry jelly and says, hey, I want to, then I probably would say no because, Smucker's going to kick you to the curb, all those big brands, So I think it depends on what niche you're in when it comes to like working with brands and bringing them to market because you have to know your stuff, your PPC strategy, if you're going to do a giveaway, promo codes, coupon codes, all the kind of stuff, And it's also a fine line because now Amazon has every way to figure out if you're paying people to buy the product,
right.
Like I feel like you can text your friends, say, hey, go buy this. And Amazon will just know.
Right.
I'm like, it's insane. So that's kind of up to you. But like I said, I would stick to like the smaller niche-y, real niche-y companies.
I do think that there is opportunity there for sure. And that's part of my strategy for 2020 is bringing some new listings to market, bringing some new variations, bringing some bundles that kind of separate me from the other ones. But it's just a slow, tedious process. It's almost like you're launching a private label product for every listing that you do. Yeah. I have a grocery supplier that has an entire line of private label groceries that aren't on Amazon, and they said that I could be their exclusive seller if I want to take them all to Amazon. But I was looking at them last night. I was like, the amount of work it's going to take to create the listing, create the photos, the lifestyle photos, if you really want to do it well and compete with the big sellers, keyword stuff, and then the PPC stuff to get it ranked. Like if you do the work, it could be really beneficial because nobody else is going to be on those listings. Right. But I do think long-term, my strategy is going to involve more of that. Like I want to stop competing. At least for now, I want to stop constantly competing with other people. I want to bring variations or value added to the listing where people go like, yeah, I can get this listing, for $9.99, but this guy's got it for $10.99, and I get this.
And I know you and I discussed in our beginning talks a few weeks ago, discussed those bundles, right?
Yeah.
And we'll keep it at that right now, but I know that is something I've looked at in the past few months also. And it's just like, I think there's a certain code that people are cracking that I'm noticing.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like that's a cool code to crack, man. Like if you find some items, like I said, we'll just leave it at that for now.
Right.
But, I think that's really the way to go, especially. And so maybe not even introducing new brands sometimes, but just, figuring out what you can bundle together, maybe it's a 2-pack or a 3-pack or something that doesn't exist, which I've seen it 1,000 times. I mean, I'm on listings now that it's just like one. And I'm like, there's not a pack of 2 for this.
Right.
I'm like, I'm probably just too lazy to make a bundle.
Right.
like how is it not a pack of 2? Like there should be a pack of 2 for this, and you can put it on the same ASIN, like right. on the same listing, just it'll be beside, just click 2.
Right.
And then boom.
One of the things that I reached out to a brand and a huge supplier of or manufacturer of like supplements and health food stuffs, and they were even open to like they had this philosophy like, we don't care what you do with our products, we just want you buying it. But they were even open to mixing and matching brands. They're like, take ours and pair it on a listing with our competitors. So people get this. I think it was like essential oils or something that they're like, get this, try both to see which one you like. They were like, we don't care what you do.
Well, it's like bundling, like peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
It's like you find 2 comparable products and that go hand in hand with each other. It's like selling a pencil in a pencil case.
Right.
It's like that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, and we both seen it because I know we've thrown around some ASINs at each other. People don't want to go and search. They want it all right there in front of their face. They don't want to look any more than they have to. They want to go on, hit buy, and be done with their day.
Here's one for the 13 people that are listening, and I've never done this one, but partially because I'm kind of lazy, but I thought like little cooking kits in a box, like birthday cakes. So you go to Dollar Tree, you buy a box of cake mix, you buy a container of frosting, you go to the little spatula aisle, you buy a $1 spatula, and then you buy a little cake pan, and you slap all that into a bundle. You charge, $12.99, $14.99, whatever it is. You advertise it as birthday cake in a and or same thing with like spaghetti dinner in a box, and you throw in some noodles, some sauce, and a little spaghetti spoon, or whatever it is. And you could walk into Dollar Tree and make up little bundles like that.
Well, it's like selling. You can do that with like a ton of stuff. You can do, let's sell spaghetti dinner. Here's a box of pasta and a jar of sauce, and there's a can of Parmesan cheese.
Yep.
There's your bundle. But you start finding these little things, and you can go to the grocery store and buy 5 units of each. Test it. If they sell, all right, I'll go buy 10 units. If they sell, I'll buy 20 units.
Yep.
Then you can find a distributor, and then you start scaling that. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Let's see. C Blunt 93. How do you create shipments, Seller Central, or Inventory Lab? I know I use Inventory Lab.
Oh yeah. Even I was a little hesitant because I'm doing all LTL now. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how the heck do I do that with? It's the same thing, same box contents, but yeah, Inventory Lab by far. I don't got to go back then to enter my unit cost, my item cost. I can make my custom SKUs. I make my own custom SKUs for everything I sell. Basically, usually how I do it is I'll just do like the distributor and either the cost or the distributor's item number. So when I go to reorder it, I can just type in the item number in my SKU.
Right.
And just hit order.
I find if for the custom SKUs that Inventory Lab creates for the reprice, I use Be Cool. Cool as my repricer, and it just when I go to reprice, it makes it so much easier if I can see my price in my SKU, just the way that their repricing system is laid out.
Right now, I actually turned off repricing. Because of the whole price gouging. I don't want a mistake to happen, so I turned mine off. I'm sure it costs you some sales, but that's okay. But I use Aura.
Yep.
So I'm using Aura right now, and they have some pretty cool features as well.
Yeah. And that if I ever, for what I do, I'm going to call it Be Cool. I don't know if they pronounce it Be Cool or Be Cool. Be Cool. For what I do and the simplicity of the stuff I sell, it works fine. But if I do know a lot of people are using Aura. Casual Flipper, how many sales per month are you after when looking at a product? Will you wholesale it? So 2 questions. How many sales per month are you after when you're looking at a product?
Well, usually if I can sell 10 a month, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, but I always sell. I don't know if you've ever realized, but like if you're an inventory lab and you type in less than 24, it wants you to go to like 13 different warehouses, you know? And I'm like, I'm not about that life, you know? So I always order 24, anything, at least 24 units. Because I know they're all going to go to the same warehouse. I'm going to worry about splitting them up. And I mean, I have we're selling small stuff, grocery. So odds are it's all going to go to the same warehouse anyway. But I mean, yeah, 10, 5, 10. I mean, it depends. If I can make $100 a unit, if I'm selling high dollar, I sell 5 a month, 1 a month. I don't care.
Right.
But, grocery. I mean, grocery. So it's I also find that the keep it charts for grocery items are definitely misleading.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, those keep charts might look like they suck, but you just wait and see how many of those things you sell.
Yeah. I've noticed that too, that and my general guideline is like, does the product sell 12 units a month, give or take? Is there something I can do to squeeze a little bit more out of that? Maybe the listing can be cleaned up a little bit. Maybe the price has just been bad. Like they're trying to charge $12.99 for something that should be really realistically closer to, $9.99 or something like that. But yeah, 10, 12 units is kind of my starting point. Will you wholesale it as okay? If Amazon is on a listing, will you go deep on a product?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in a product now where my first order was 120 units, just last week, and got them in there, and then I sold like 60, and I was like, crap. And Amazon's on listing, but they're sharing the buy box and whatnot. So I just put an order today for another 180. So yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't. Too many people are like, oh no, I won't. When I was doing electronics, every single item I sold, Amazon was selling pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know that, I know that. There's the times, but believe it or not, Amazon shares more than you think.
Right.
But yeah, so absolutely, I will compete with Amazon 100%. They don't scare me. I will outsell them on listing, no problem.
Sure. Let's see here. Same using LTL with Inventory Lab. Question: how do you get the most onto one shipment? Just keep spieling, adding the ones that didn't make it to the shipment. And with Inventory Lab, you case pack because then you can't change the quantity once it's in the shipment.
Oh, I don't do case pack. That's because, like for example, today, I ordered 48 units. I put them in Inventory Lab, and turns out 5 are broken. Glass stuff.
Right.
Okay, so if I want to go change that, I can't. And then now the case packs are uneven, so it's like I always do individual boxes. I'll put my own boxes in there. How do I most on one shipment? So I am in Pennsylvania. Everything I sell goes to either one of two warehouses, either Carlisle or Hazleton, PA. And usually it's Hazleton, but everything's small. Like every single thing small, will always go there. So I don't have an issue with that, with getting everything to one warehouse. But usually if you put anything over 24, it'll usually send it to one warehouse if it's a smaller item. So that would be in hand with the next question is how many do you do for a test order? Usually I do 24. I know some say, oh, do 5 or 6, whatever. I just do 24. If it's not real expensive, I'll do 24. Just because I know that it's a pretty round number, even number. I find case packs are in 12s or 6s anyway. So it evens out that. And yeah.
So I think what he's talking about there is the gurus kind of tell you to stay away from Amazon.
Yeah, so I guarantee they're doing that all the time. That's their bread and butter for sure.
I would definitely check Keepa. Make sure that it looks as if Amazon doesn't, because they could at any point, like they can take a loss on a product to liquidate it a lot easier than we can. But, if the price looks pretty stable and Amazon's in the listing, but that, it's definitely one that I would maybe dip my toe in first, instead of buying 180 units. Let's start off with 24. Hey, Amazon did share the buy box. I sold those out pretty quickly. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. But yeah, when we were doing the electronic stuff, like Amazon being on the listing sometimes is actually a bonus because that they're advertising their own. You know what I mean? It's actually beneficial.
That's what also like I noticed with this item that I saw like just last week. I was like, oh well, when I sent it in, they weren't on the listing. But I noticed that they were on there before. But I also noticed that when they first started coming on the listing, the rank got significantly better. So I was like, all right, well, if they're going in and out, I'm going to just buy 120 because they sell fast enough that when they're gone, I can at least sell them. Well, then they came on right when I got on, miraculously, right? How ironic is that usually? And but then they started sharing, and the rank is under 10,000, and I'm like, all right, like, sweet. Like, because also what you realize is, which I've noticed from a lot of big sellers I follow, is they'll literally have something ranked like 42 in grocery. Amazon's selling it for like $4 a unit. They're selling it for $9 a unit. And you see that they only have like 9 left in stock, which means they're getting sales.
Right.
And that's because of, at least I understand, is a regional buy box.
Okay.
So I haven't experimented. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm definitely going to dip my toe in selling some stuff that's like ranked like under 100, 1,000 that Amazon has a huge presence on and low price. I'm going to price higher than Amazon and see if I can't get some regional sales. Because look at any seller with over 100,000 feedback, and they're with Amazon on every single listing, but they're $3, $4, $5 higher than them. So they're still selling, obviously, or they won't be selling at all. So
yeah. All right, we just about an hour, a little over an hour. It doesn't look like we have any other questions, but I would like for the 12, 15 of you guys that signed in, let me know either the YouTube thing is new to me. Follow. I'm on Instagram as the Reselling Teacher at the Reselling Teacher. Kurtis is at Primetime FBA. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you liked about it, what you didn't like, because I would like to continue this. I want to talk to there's so many people I want to talk to.
Yeah. He should be talking to, I know James Universe.
Yeah. Yep.
He does a ton of grocery.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, let me know, was the audio okay? Was the format okay? Was the video quality okay? Was the, what can we do to make it better? Who would you like to talk to next? I've already got a couple people lined up that, and I just want to get to know people better. I want to learn, and hopefully other people that tagged, that came into the broadcast were able to learn some stuff too. But I know Kurtis is definitely open to any questions you have.
Yeah, DM me on Instagram, guys. I'm always around. I'm always talking to people. So I am newer. I just started Instagram like a month ago, with at least for my business page. So I'm new to this whole thing, So.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and I've learned a ton from you. It's so funny, like. I'm learning. It's cool because there's another grocery or wholesaler, not necessarily just grocery. Tony Starkovic. I think he's on Instagram. I can't remember what his new wholesale account is, but it's like these 20-year-old kids that I'm like learning so much from, and it's super cool to me, man. Like that, I love. Like, I don't know. I just think it's super cool. You know what I mean? It's just a different world. It's just crazy to see what the internet has created, the entrepreneurs it's created. It's just super cool. V for Victory, always perfect. I appreciate that. Tiffany, Sleep Amazon. If you're not following her on Instagram, check her out. I know CBlunt93 is on Instagram. The Casual Flipper, I know, is on Instagram as what is the screen name? Just the Casual Flipper. And I'm trying to think who else I saw here. Ryan B, thanks for joining us. But yeah, super cool, man. I appreciate it. Shoot us a question, give us some feedback, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff you're supposed to say when you do stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
We'll see you guys around. Thanks, man.
All right, later.
Goodbye.